Good girl. Hey, welcome back to Max Nafe Horsemanship and Baby Steps. And no, this is not a baby, but what I want to show you with her is, well, it's got lots to do with the babies. And well, actually one of them is in here too. And man, I got a lot to talk about today. I think I better split it up into put some of it in my next video, assuming I remember. I forget from one day to the next sometimes. But I want to show you some of the things that this horse can do. I can't show you everything because we don't have lots of facilities here as far as jumps and barrels and things like that to demonstrate some of the things that she can do. Because she can do free jumping, side pass over barrels, all kinds of neat stuff. But all of the stuff that she can do is stuff that we're working up to. And that's the whole point of what we're doing with the babies, is to get this. And I want to demonstrate a few things with her. Now, you already saw how she came up to me when I asked her to. Well, that's why we've been teaching the other ones to come, is so that you don't have to chase after the horse when you want it for something. Well, a little off camera here. Come here, Molly. Come here. Yeah, you, over here. That's better. Thank you. Good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. But a lot of the stuff that we're doing with the little ones leads up to stuff that I can do with this one. Now, I haven't done a thing with this horse in months. Been quite a while. Actually, I briefly had her in the round pen here one day not too long ago, but I haven't done much with this horse. And for the most part, she's just kind of standing around eating grass most of the time. And she's been doing that for the better part of the past year. But I think there's a few things she can probably still do for me here that hopefully you'll get to see. And it's all about what we've been doing with the little ones and how it leads up to this one. You know, first off, you notice how she's standing here real nice for me. If I had a saddle on her, or actually if I wanted to put a saddle on, I could do it without a halter. She'll stay here while I put a saddle on her back. If I wanted to mount, she's not going anywhere, is she? Well, that's stuff that we're teaching those little ones. To stand still, to come when called, so on and so forth. One of the other things that we've been working on is making them good with their feet. And that's important too, because I've said before, I do my own trimming, but even if you didn't do your own trimming, your farrier's going to love you for this one. Foot. Thank you. That easy. Most of the time I don't have to touch it. Good girl. Well, you see, I didn't even have to pick it up. She picked it up for me. One of the many things, and that's why we're working on getting them good with their feet, and why I like doing things the way I do, because this is the kind of results you get. And there's other things that we can do with this horse too. Well, for example, I talked about working on the side pass to make your horse as maneuverable as possible. And one of the things that this one will do, one of the many things that she'll do, that a lot of horses don't do, is she'll side pass towards me. And it's not uncommon to get a horse to side pass away from you. That's actually pretty easy to do. Getting it to side pass towards you, another story. Well, I'll see if I can get her to do that for me. Oh, good girl. Okay, I'm sure we went off camera doing that. But that's not the point. Hey, Molly, over here. Yeah, the camera's pointing this way. Well, it's just one of many things. How about spin around in a circle for me? Can you? Move your bum over a little further. You're not done. It's not much of a circle. Well, that's what happens when you don't do things for a while. But again, one of many things that she can do. Now, I'm not trying to show off what she can do. That's not what this is about. But we got here by doing all the things that we're doing, that you just watched me do with the little ones. There's one other reason she's here. Now, I've talked about this too, but this is an example. Every horse is unique. No two horses are alike, believe me. This one happens to have an exceptionally unique personality. She's very smart, she's very sensitive, she's a wonderful horse. I absolutely love her to pieces. But don't get me wrong, she's not perfect. She can be difficult. When it comes to doing liberty work, fantastic. Riding, another story. She can be about as difficult as any horse could possibly be. But she doesn't buck. That's about the only thing she doesn't do. But she's very unique. And as a very unique horse, I've kept this one. I've had several horses over the years, and actually the last one I sold, I think I should have kept that one because he was phenomenal. But her I keep because I don't think anybody else would understand her. And, I mean, yeah, she's weird. She's just plain weird. But I get it, and I understand her personality and her quirks, and I accept her for who she is. Perfect example is, well, just recently we've been working with the tarp with those youngsters. And they've been doing reasonably well. Her, I've been working with the tarp for years. Now, just to put things into perspective, she's 19 years old, I think, something like that, around there anyhow. And to this day, she still doesn't like the tarp. But that's just who she is. Now, I'll just pop a couple pictures in here in a minute to show you that, in fact, I can wrap her in a tarp, I can ride her over a tarp, but she doesn't like the tarp. But she doesn't react in a fashion that's dangerous, so I accept that. And that's just the way she is. She's never been comfortable with the tarp. For whatever reason, I don't know, I don't understand that. But we did work with the tarp with her and got her to the point where she's not going to have any kind of a violent reaction to it. And that's about as good as we can get, no matter how much we work with her. Could we get a little bit better? Maybe, I don't know. But probably not worth the energy. And like I said, I'm willing to accept her for who she is. So that's what we got. And that's what you're going to have to do too, because every horse is unique. And your horse is not going to be like either of the youngsters I'm working with, and not going to be like this one. I hope not. But your horse, guaranteed, is going to have some quirks and idiosyncrasies that, well, you're going to have to learn to accept, because there is no such thing as a perfect horse. No matter what your expectations are, it doesn't always work that way. Your expectations are important, though, because they will largely create the horse that you end up with in the end, because they become what your expectations are. I mean, in all reality. But there is always going to be the occasional little quirk about them that you're just going to have to learn to live with. And every single horse is going to have one. A little foible, quirk, weirdness, I don't know. Call it what you want. Every horse is unique, and every horse is going to have something that you are going to have to learn to accept and live with and be willing to live with. And this is part of the mentality of a good horseman, is there are some times where you just have to tell your mind that, you know what, I'm going to accept that horse the way it is for who it is. Now, that doesn't mean you have to accept all of the negative things that it does. I mean, there's a line there. It's a fuzzy one, and there's a lot of stuff that can and should be fixed, but there is a point where some things cannot be fixed. It's just the way the horse is, and if it's not something that's going to be dangerous to you in any way, learn to live with it, because maybe after much effort, if you still can't fix it, maybe it's not fixable. Maybe it's just one of those things, because like I said, this one here, 19 years, I've worked with her with the tarp. It's not like I haven't done anything to try and make her better, but she's actually much better than she used to be. She used to be really reactive to a tarp. Now she's gotten to the point where she clearly still doesn't like it, but she'll tolerate anything I do with it. She's very obedient in that regard. So anyhow, I think that's about all I need her in here for, so maybe I'm going to kick her out, and I'm going to work with a little paint. She's in here too right now. You may have seen her wandering around in the background. Yeah, Molly, you can go. Okay, stand there, I don't care. She thinks I have her here for a reason, so she's staying here. I interrupted her grazing. She was eating grass earlier. I interrupted that, so now she is paying attention to me. Even though it doesn't really look like it, she actually is paying attention to me. Remarkable horse. She can do a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, I just thought of another one I could have done. Oh, never mind. Doesn't matter. But fact is, she's relevant to what we're doing. That's the only reason she's here. But she's served her purpose now, and we're going to move on to that little paint. And you are going to want to stick around for this one for sure, guaranteed, because I think it's time we're going to trailer load her. She's doing pretty good in every other respect. She hasn't been in the trailer yet, and there aren't many other things that we can do. So guess what? Trailer's next. So you're going to want to stick around with that one, because I'm going to take the camera over there and I'm going to set it up behind the trailer so you got a decent view of what's going on, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing step by step, and I'm going to have a little bit of a preamble to it too as well, because I got to explain a little bit about trailers and trailer loading, because there's a lot of mistakes people make, very common ones. I've done them too, so that's why I think I am qualified to talk about them, because I've made these mistakes. In fact, I've made most of the mistakes I've said don't do. If I've said don't do it, it's probably because I've done it. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about the trailer, different types of trailers, different problems that you may incur with trailers and things like that. And I'll explain it all as I go. And I'll throw in another little clip there too, I think. Yeah, we'll get to it. I'm going to throw in another little clip of one of my own horses that I trailer trained. I actually have quite a few clips of horses trailer training or trailer loading, because it is a thing that a lot of people have problems with, and you really don't need to. And I've already discussed a couple of the things that you can do that lead up to the trailer that will help. But when it comes to the trailer itself, you know what? It's one of those things, it's just an event that, well, we're going to have to see how it goes. And each horse is a little bit different. I saw two horses a friend of mine had, two half-sisters, both the same age, had the same sire, two different dams, I think. The one looked at the trailer, walked right into it. Didn't even have to lead it in or nothing. It just went in. The other one didn't want to go anywhere near the trailer. So, both the same breed, same age, but again, an example of different personalities. And, well, we don't know what we're getting into with this one, but I don't think it's going to be terrible, terrible hard, but it's not going to be without a few challenges, and I'm going to have to explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it. But when we get to that part, we'll bring you back. Prior to that, we're going to mess around in here a little bit and play with her and just kind of work up to that, getting her comfortable with my existence and that sort of thing. So when we do try and get her in the trailer, it's actually going to make it a little bit easier, and that's one of the things that when you try doing something new, to start with, work on a few things that you know the horse is fairly good with. Doesn't have to be perfect, but fairly good with. Things that are confidence building and that sort of thing, and help with the trust. And that way, when you move on to something new, there's a better chance you're going to succeed, because the mental connection between you and the horse is going to be a lot better. The horse is going to look at you as a leader and somebody it can trust, and it's going to be more willing to do what you ask it to do. So there you go. Talk to you in a minute when we move the camera. Well, this isn't going quite as well as I would like. No, she's finding this pressure to be a bit much. But as you can see, Molly has done this before. She knows how to do this. She'll actually wait for the other horse, because I've done this with up to 4 horses at a time. And I just thought while she was in here, I'd try and see what was going on here. See what we could accomplish. That's better. Good girl. There you go. You go too. There we go. That's not bad. Oh, she's slowing down because the other horse is right on the other side of the fence there. So she's kind of got a bit of a draw there. There we go. That's better. That's better. Keep going. Keep going, little girl. There we go. Well, This isn't perfect, but this is what you can accomplish with completely green horses. And she's already figured out, she knows the cue because she's done this many times. That one's new at it, but she's also, the cues aren't really any different, what we're doing. And you can do this with multiple horses. I've done it with 2, 3, 4, even 4 horses. I was wondering if it was possible to do it with 4, so I thought, hey, let's try 4. You can do the same thing, and if you got 1 or 2 that really know what they're doing, makes it a lot easier. If one doesn't know what it's doing, you got a problem. If you don't have at least 1 solid horse. This one here barely knows this stuff, so I mean, she's doing really good anyhow. But yeah, I just one, it's nothing that you need to do. Okay, this isn't something you can do. I'm just showing you. I just thought I'd mess around while I had Molly in here and see what we could accomplish. And it went not too bad. It didn't go as good as I would have liked it to. I'm not going to show you the ugly stuff. I'll edit this a bit to show you the good stuff. And we're going to trailer load this little horse now. But before I do, which, well, be patient, but listen to what I got to say. Because there's stuff about trailering that is important. Now, I also talked about how having the horse go between you and an object, a wall, a fence, a bale, whatever, and stop there, helps it get used to confined spaces, box stalls, buildings, all these things, all helpful. But nothing's a guarantee that it's all going to go real smooth. And, well, what I'm going to end up having to do here is a little sketchy at best, but we'll get to that. But I want to talk about trailering in general. Now, for some of you, you're going to think, well, what do I need to trailer a horse for? I'm not going anywhere. And for some of you, that might be pretty true. That horse may never leave your property in a trailer for its entire life. But if there's ever an emergency and you got to take it to the vet for treatment or evacuate it because of a wildfire or whatever, you want to be able to get the horse in a trailer and not have to have a fight with it when you're in a hurry, because you'll be in a hurry in those conditions. And you don't want to be struggling with an injured horse either if it's a vet, type thing. So you want to do this ahead of time, even if the horse never leaves the property. Now, the other thing is, too, some of you don't even have a trailer. And to do this, you're going to have to borrow one. Either get a friend to come over with their trailer or borrow it and have them park it in your yard for a couple weeks. But on that note, if you're using a trailer that is not hooked up to a vehicle, to a tow vehicle, make sure that you put some supports under the back of it to hold it up solid, because some trailers, not all, but some trailers, depending on the weight displacement on them, particularly the bumper pull ones, some of them, and I've had them, they can do a teeter-totter thing where when the horse steps on the back, all of a sudden the tail end goes down, front end comes up. Not good. You don't want that happening. Not when you're trying to get the horse trained to go in the trailer in the first place. You don't want something going on that's going to scare the crap out of it. Okay. There's also a lot of different types of trailers. Now, even where I live, there's several iterations of trailers. Now, there's actually a trailer almost identical to this one that I've used before that was a horse trailer. This one, as far as I know, is actually, technically, it's a stock trailer. But I don't mind it. It's big, it's wide, there's lots of room. It's good for training. It's an excellent tool for the job, as far as I'm concerned. Worst case scenario is a 2-straight load. Well, actually, maybe the worst case would be the 1, but they're really rare. The 2-straights, I think they actually still make them, but it's a very old design, and not very many people use them anymore. Most people have got a slant load or something along those lines. The 2-straight, if you can get a horse in one of those, you can get a horse in just about anything. I used to have a 2-straight. I actually kind of liked it because of the fact that it didn't take up a lot of room, and it actually had advantages for loading, although it can be difficult because it's a very confined space in there. A lot of horses don't like, but it does have a partition down the middle of it, and you can go on one side of it and load the horse on the other side of it, and it keeps you safe. It's pretty good that way. Other options in other countries is they actually have trailers on the front. They have a ramp, kind of a pointed nose, and a ramp that folds down a corner. We have trailers similar to that for snowmobiles and quads and stuff like that. There are countries they have trailers like that for horses. They walk in the back, flop the ramp down, they walk out the front. I don't like that concept. Well, okay, it's not bad. It's not a horrible thing, but I like a horse that can back out of a trailer. That way, no matter what kind of trailer you put it in, if there isn't enough room to turn around, you can still get the horse out of the trailer, because some horses really have a problem with backing out of a trailer. You know, and that's why one of the reasons I'm going to do things the way I do is to, well, the horse is going to back out of the trailer. There is enough room in this trailer, and this horse is small enough, it could very easily turn around and walk back out. That's way easier, and a lot of people will do that. Even with big horses, if you got the right trailer, there's enough room in them to turn around and walk back out again. That's okay, but you never know. Someday you might have to go into one of them 2 straight load trailers, and there's only one way out of those trailers, and that's to back up. So the horse has to be able to back up. But, like I said, there's a lot of different kinds of trailers. There's stock trailers, slant loads, straight loads, you name it, and they all have their pros and cons. But before you get started, like I said, you either put some blocks under it to make sure the tail end can't go down, or do what I've done today, is I backed up my vehicle in front of this trailer. I haven't moved the trailer. It's sitting right where it was, but I attached it to my vehicle, closed the hitch, and it is now stabilized by my vehicle in front. So there's absolutely no way that front end's going in the air. Okay, it's not going to happen. So that is important. There's lots of common mistakes people make. I want to talk about another one is most people don't think about the trailering part really, other than the fact that they want to get this horse to their friend's place, the show, wherever they're going, and that's all they care about. And their mind is thinking, getting the horse there. They don't think about what's really taking place. And the mistake that a lot of people do in that particular scenario is, if the horse isn't properly trained for loading, they'll get it in the trailer, quickly close the door once it's in, take off, away they go, unload it where they're going, and then when they go to leave and come home, the horse is not going back in that trailer. It says, you fooled me once, I ain't going in that thing again. Because last time I stepped inside that thing, the mouth slammed shut on the big steel monster, and the next thing you know, I'm bouncing and shaking down a road, and we end up in a strange place. I don't like that. And that's one of those things that, well, it's like everything you do with a horse. You got to do it in stages and steps and work up to it. And I'm going to show you some of the things we're going to do, because there's a lot more to it than just putting the horse in the trailer. You think trailing a horse, that's about getting the horse in the trailer. No, there's a lot more going on. Now, first off, you got to realize this is a totally foreign thing to this horse. Now, if this was my own trailer, I would have turned it around, but I'm not moving this thing because it's not mine. But if it was mine, I'd turn it around and have the sun shining in the back door so that the trailer is as well illuminated as possible. Now, this is something you can practice, is park your trailer in such a position that it's illuminated as best as possible. If you've got windows that can be open, open them up. If you've got bars in those windows as well, leave the bars. Do not open those bars, please. I've seen bad things happen. Horses get freaked out and try crawling out the window. The bars are there for a reason. Leave them in, okay? But open the windows up. Let as much light as possible into that thing, because one of the things about horses, their eyesight's not like ours. It doesn't adjust quickly to different light levels. And when you open this back door in the trailer, all the horse sees is a big black hole. And to a horse, that's a cave. And its instincts say, don't go in it. Bad things live there. Whether it's lions, bears, snakes, whatever, bad things live in caves. And horses, by instinct, won't go in a cave, naturally. If you don't believe me, try leading your horse in a cave sometime. We don't have any caves around here, so I can't do that. But that's one of the reasons you have a problem with the trailer. So the first thing you can do is, let's see, oh boy, oh, wrong lever, forgot. You can slide half of this door open too. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to open the whole thing because we want the trailer as open as possible. Now, best case, what I would recommend is tying the door open, because in case a gust of wind comes along, you don't want the door to swing and hit the horse. That could startle the horse and cause problems. I think the wind is going in our favor today, so it's probably not going to create a problem. Okay, it's going to stop there. Good. Perfect. Okay, so we don't want the wind taking that door. Now, there's a couple different ways of loading a horse. And under ideal circumstances, you're just going to open the door and say, in you go. And the horse goes in. And at this point, I'm going to enter a little clip from one of my own horses, a video of one that I trained. And he was completely untrained when I got him, and pretty much unhandled too. He's a little older than this though, but was completely untrained when I got him, and I trailer trained him. And this video will give you an idea what we're trying to achieve. It's not going to look like that in the beginning, I can guarantee. We're not done yet, but I think it's getting pretty good. Oh, by the way, I wouldn't recommend you doing this. Oh boy. Got some junk in the tail. We're going to have to get out of there. There we go. Anyhow. So, to start with, things are not going to be that great. There's a couple different methods, and some I would say absolutely don't do. Now, some people will lead the horse up to the trailer. And of course, a lot of this depends on whether you're going to the side of a, what do they call it, a horse box, lorry, whatever, a truck that has, in other countries, they have trucks with boxes on the back of them specifically for hauling horses. It's kind of cool, but they got a steep ramp going up into them. They got their own set of problems. But a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll actually lead the horse up to it and then just tap them with something similar to a training stick or whatever on the rib cage, right about where your leg would normally go, which is the cue for forward motion, because that's what you want. You want the horse to go forward into the trailer. Well, for training purposes, if the horse has never ever been in a trailer, I'm not sure how well that would work. This horse has also had very limited training in that department as far as that being a cue for forward. So I don't think we're going to go that route. Another thing that you can do, come here, dear. Yeah, you can come closer. It's not going to eat you. Trust me. This thing never hurts you, does it? Hasn't hurt you yet. She's cautious. She's wary. She's not seeing much. If there were windows on the front of this thing, I'd open them up too to lighten it up. But it is what it is today. I'm not going to open the side door, though, because that can actually be dangerous, because when the horse goes in, it might try going right back out. And so we don't want that. But if the horse really super trusts you and your scent is super good, well, you can actually stand on the ground here and just send your horse in the trailer. But for the very first time, well, I've never seen that work. That doesn't work too well. Once the horse has been in the trailer a few times, it's used to the trailer, that's my preferred method, is I will just stand on the ground, send the horse in. I never get in between the horse and the walls or anything like that. It's much safer. In fact, I will generally stand back far enough that if the horse ever gets freaked out for some reason, which occasionally can happen, and I've actually had it happen with my own horse, go in the trailer, spin around, and then shoot back out. And if I wasn't back far enough, I would have got run over. But I'm going to do something now that I'm going to pre-warn you, this is dangerous. But unfortunately, for the very first load, it is usually necessary. Not my first choice of loading. I don't like doing it this way. But I'm actually going to get in the trailer, and I'm going to lead her in, is what I'm going to do. Now, you'll notice one of the other things is I've got no tools with me. Nothing but the halter and lead. There's no sticks, no flags, no nothing. I'm not going to coerce her into the trailer in any way, shape, or form. And you will see people doing that. They'll get up behind the horse and start tapping on it. you know, not brutally or anything, but they'll tap on it with a stick or something to that effect. And all that does is make the trailer a bad place, because when the horse gets near the trailer, all of a sudden somebody's tapping on it. And that really makes for a negative thing. Sometimes it can encourage the horse to move forward, but I don't like doing it that way. I just don't, you know, like I said, there's pros and cons to that. Does it encourage the horse to go forward? Yes. But it could also make the trailer a bad place where the horse really doesn't want to be near. So, now I just noticed that door moved in again. I think I might have to get a piece of rope or something, tie it open, because I don't want that thing bumping her for the first time, because if the horse was super experienced with the trailer, it wouldn't be so much of an issue, but for first time in a trailer, I do not want that door whacking her, even if it doesn't move in much any more than that. I mean, right now there's lots of room here. I could easily still load her, but I don't want to take a chance on something bad happening. Maybe there's something around here I can use. There's some sticks around here. I think maybe I can just prop one up against the door, and maybe we've got something over here that's long enough that'll hold the door open and eliminate our problem. Maybe I don't have to go back to my car and get some rope and find a piece the right length and find something to tie onto. And anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. But you do need some way of securing the door open. And right now we're running into that exact problem I discussed already. So before we proceed any further, I'm going to address that. Okay, we took care of the door. Happened to be in a big chunk of wood laying over beside the barn here we could use. There was conveniently a rust hole in the door that we could stick one end of it into to hold it in place, and then just stuff the other end tight against the ground. The door is open basically as far as it's physically capable of going, so everything's nice and tight. Hopefully that's going to work. Now, you can see she's getting more comfortable with the trailer all the time. She's getting closer to it. I'm going to get her a little closer yet, and then just let her hang out for a bit, so that she realizes the trailer is not a bad thing if she gets near it. Okay. Yeah, go forward. Good girl. Now you see she's, in this case, she's not terribly concerned about this trailer. She's not scared of it, trying to avoid it. At the moment she's standing right behind it with her head in it, sniffing at the floor. I'm going to let her do that for a minute. She's done. She's looking around at the other horses. She's not too interested. Oh my goodness, she wants to go in. Well, let's see what happens. But I'm going to start by saying I'm not going to let her come on all the way. Good girl. There we go. And that's good too. Whoa, right there. Good girl. Good little horsey. You back up now. Good. Now, we intentionally did not let her come in all the way. And for a reason, because some horses will get really concerned and they won't back up. And we don't want that to happen, so we're going to come in, you know, well, if we can do it 1 foot at a time, we'll do it 1 foot at a time. If not, we're going to do it 2 at a time. But once she got the front ones in, I was pretty happy with that. And, you know, she's trusting me enough that she's not too concerned about this thing, because she knows I'm not going to lead her into trouble. And horses just don't like trouble. That's all. They just don't want trouble. So you want to be as gentle and slow as possible. You notice, again, I'm barehanded. I'm not pulling hard on the lead or anything. But, okay, 1 foot in. Good. Okay, that's good enough. You can back up now. Back up. Back. Back. Good girl. There we go. Now, right here, I should mention too, this is also another reason that we did some of the tarp work, is getting her used to different footing, because you'll notice as soon as she stepped her foot in here, it made a noise. The footing it's wood and tin, and it makes noise. It's weird. It's different footing than what she's used to, and it makes a lot of noise. And that's one of the reasons that we desensitize to strange footing, so that it gets the horse ready for the trailer. I bet you didn't even think of that one, did you? Okay, I didn't think of it until now, but, well, actually earlier today I thought about it. Okay, now, she went 2 feet in, but I noticed when she did, Good girl. Come on. Yeah, you can do this. Atta girl. Now, there's this fine balance. I got to not get too close to the horse in case she jumps forward. But at the same time, I have to be able to control her. So I got to stay close enough to the lead and halter. Keep the lead short. Okay. So that I can control her and keep her from spinning around. Very important. Because if she spins around in here, I could be in trouble. Okay, she just moved the back feet. Give her a little break there. I only put a very tiny bit of pressure on the lead. No, I don't want you backing up, dear. No. We're going to go forward now. Good girl. Good girl. This isn't the best floor in the world. And I really don't want her falling through it. Good girl. Well, she's going a little bit further. A little bit at a time. And you'll notice right now, I'm not pulling on her. I'm just letting her chill out. And I'm going to tell her she's a good girl. No, you can't go backwards, dear. I don't want you going backwards. Good girl. And take another step forward. There we go. Now, she's just about as far as she can go without stepping right in. She's got her back legs right at the back of the trailer. She's not in yet. And she's getting a little concerned. She's getting a little concerned. And this is the point where I'm deciding, okay, maybe I should let her back out. Because she's been good. She's been good. Okay, now she's being good. Now I'm going to back her out. We haven't loaded her all the way, have we? No. But we just want her to get good with going in and the forward into the trailer without stress. We don't want to keep going because a lot of people make the mistake. They go, oh, good, I got one foot in. Let's keep pulling on the lead and get her the rest of the way in. That's a mistake, a horrible mistake, because it just means that the trailer represents pressure and stress. And we do not want that. We want to make the trailer a good place, a place that she doesn't mind going at all. So that when she gets in here, we're going to tell her what a good girl she is and rub on her. And if she wants to leave at this stage, we'll back her out. We won't let her turn around. And that's the reason for keeping your lead relatively short, which, like I say, it makes things a little dicey here because you got to keep it short but keep your distance at the same time. It's a, this is a very dangerous thing. Please, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. This can be dangerous. Be careful when you're doing this. And depending on your horse, might not be a problem at all. I've seen horses that just walk right in. Others that took quite some time. Good girl. Good girl. There we go. Oh, and she quite readily moved her back feet towards the trailer that time. And she was, I didn't even tighten up the lead. She was just moving off a feel. Oh, she's yawning. She don't care. She's being cool. Okay, come on forward. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. You going to come in now? Yeah, you're being a good girl. Yes. Again, 2 fingers on the lead. Oh, she's a little excited. She's not cool. What? Oh, wait. What's happening here? Maybe. I got to watch out here. Like I said, if she gets excited and jumps forward, I don't want to lift her head and banging on the ceiling because that can make the trailer a bad experience too. We have to be very careful when we're doing this. Some people get very forceful when trailer loading, and bad things can happen. She was just sniffing at some tape hanging on the wall. That's good. That means she's relaxing enough to investigate. And, she's not far off coming in. Oh, she's pawing. She's frustrated. No, you don't get to back up, dear. No, I don't want you backing up this time. Good girl. Now I'm just going to gently apply a little pressure, very little. And let's see. Oh, she's very considering coming in. That's a good girl. And until she takes a step forward, I'm going to keep the pressure on. Not a lot. I'm not pulling hard. At this point, she could very easily back up. if she took a notion to it. It wouldn't take much to pull the lead out of my hand. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. You got to have patience for this. She's getting a little upset, and if she decides to go charging backwards, I'm not going to try and stop her, because the last thing I want her to do is to throw her head up in the air and hit the trailer. I really don't want that to happen. Because oh, she's getting stressed. She's getting stressed. You just got a prime view of that. And I'm not editing that out either. That is a perfect example of, when the horse is getting stressed. And I know she is. This isn't rocket science. Although I don't think it's a good method. It's a way of treating colic. And there we go. Beautiful. Good girl. That's a good little horse. Good girl. Now I'm going to keep the halter pretty short here, or lead. I'm almost on the halter right now, because I don't want her to turn around. Back. Back. Yeah, you can back. Good girl. Back. She wants to try and turn around, I can tell. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. There we go. That was a little stompy, but she backed up. Now let's see what happens. And there we go. Back down onto the ground. Back. There we go. What a good girl. Well, there you go. You just saw how long it takes to get a horse in a trailer that has never been in a trailer. Now we're going to do this several more times. We're going to lead her in, back her out. I'm not going to bother filming in that, because I suspect at this point, my battery's probably about to go dead, my cordless, or wireless, what do you want to call this thing, my mic. I noticed when I started it was pretty low, and I should have changed it before I came out, but it lasts so long. It's not one of those things that's on the top of my list every day to check. So anyhow, was she comfortable with that? Absolutely not. This is good. That's just the beginning. But you'll notice I didn't make her stay in there for any length of time, and we backed her out. She's still right in front of the trailer. No, she's not escaping the trailer. Okay? And she backed out at my request. I asked her to back out. Didn't take a lot. The first couple steps, she was a little hesitant, because when a horse is backing up, that's one of the things, they can't see directly behind them. And on a trailer like this that has no ramp to it, when they step out the back, they don't know how far down that is. Is it 6 inches, 6 feet, 6 miles? Okay, kilometers, whatever. It doesn't. I don't care what it is. Is it that far, or are they going to die? And that's why some horses are very, very hesitant to back out of a trailer, because they can't see what they're doing, and they don't know where are those how far down are those back feet going. And I've seen it quite a few times where the horse would start backing out, the feet would come off the trailer, it'd go down until it almost touched the ground, and then they pull it back up and step back into the trailer because they didn't feel the floor. All of a sudden it's much lower there, and they didn't know how much lower, even though they were like, really, really close. They almost touched the ground. If they'd kept going, they would have been on the ground. But they didn't know that, because they can't see directly behind them like that. So that's one of the reasons horses frequently don't back up well, is because it's scary, because they can't see directly behind them like that. It's one of the few places where they actually have a true blind spot, is directly behind them. And they actually have phenomenal peripheral vision. It's only absolutely directly behind. They cannot see. And in this case, they'd be looking down at an angle past their rib cage, which is the widest part of the horse. And that's the direction between the eyes and the feet. And they can't see them. They have no idea what's going on. So they're very hesitant to back out. But that is one of the reasons that I work on backing out so much, is so that they get to know that when they're in the trailer, they can back out. And so anyhow, I'm going to cut this one off there, and maybe load her a couple more times today and see how it goes, and back her out again. And like I say, you got to go slow, take your time. This actually went fairly quick. I was pretty impressed how well it went. She's a good little girl, but she was getting stressed. There's no doubt about it. She would occasionally toss her head a little bit, and while you saw her relieve herself, all indications that she's getting stressed by the situation. And that's the point where you got to be super careful. You got to pay attention to that stuff, and be super careful you don't overstress the horse when you're doing this stuff, because you don't want it to have a meltdown, because you can get hurt, and you don't want it slamming into the walls, the edges, the corners, the roof, whatever, getting hurt, and then thinking the trailer is really, really a bad place because I got hurt the last time I went near it. I'm not doing that again. Well, that's why I say you got to make the horse trailer a good place. And that's why, you know, after she'd been in one more time or two, I'm going to let her stay a little bit longer each time. I'm going to rub on her, tell her what a good girl she is before I asked her to back out. And that way, she will never, ever equate the trailer to a bad thing. Now, it doesn't stop there, though. Once you've had the horse in and out of the trailer quite a few times, what I'll do, and I'm not going to bother videoing this, is I'll close the door. Then I'll open it again. I'll do it a couple times. And each time I'll close it a little bit longer. And then eventually, I'm going to bang on the side of the trailer because it makes a lot of noise. And when you're going down the road, it's going to make lots of noise. They got to get used to that. So I'll watch in the window, and I'll bang on the trailer, and I'll see how the horse reacts. And then eventually what you can do is start the car. Don't go anywhere. Don't have to. Just start the car. Let the horse feel the vibration of the engine in the trailer. And then eventually, after a couple of times of that, go for a drive around the yard. Don't have to go anywhere. Just drive around the yard, put it in the same spot, open the door, let the horse out. And each time, you drive a little further. You know, the first time you do that, you might only move it ahead and back a couple feet, you know, or maybe a meter or two, whatever. I don't care what your measurement is. Just move it back and forth a little bit, and just so the horse gets used to the movement. And then you can, you know, gradually, step by step, increasing things so that you can eventually drive around the yard, eventually drive down the road to the next driveway and turn around and come back, down to the next intersection. Then you can go a couple miles, then several miles. And each time, you make it a good thing. You know, and even before you take off down the road, you might load and unload the horse a couple times, so it doesn't think that the minute it gets in that trailer, it's not getting back out again for a long time. You know, don't set any kind of a precedent where you immediately load the horse and take off. Don't do that, because that can cause you a lot of problems in the end. Do that a couple times and you may never get the horse in the trailer again. Might create all kinds of problems. So I hope this was educational. You don't need special tools. You don't need force or anything like that. Just very gentle, and you can load a horse. Have a good day. Good. There we go. Good girl.